Cease scrolling. This occurrence is not mere chance. There exists a purpose for your viewing this message at this very moment. It is not simply another video. The heavens are observing. The spiritual realm is in anticipation. In the forthcoming seconds, your life is poised to be evaluated. God has an urgent message for you. Before today, your name could be inscribed in a celestial record for a divine inheritance. A sum of $777 million is designated for your destiny. I am not referring to luck, wishes, or fairy tales. I am speaking of a supernatural moment, a fleeting opportunity that may never present itself again. Should you choose to click away or disregard this call, a part of your spirit may close off. Opportunities for abundance and breakthroughs could remain locked for years or even indefinitely. However, if you choose to listen and obey, there are forces at work right now at this very moment, ready to transform your narrative, your finances, your family, and your entire legacy. This is the moment for which you have been praying, and God is observing your choices in the next 30 seconds. If you dare to remain attentive until the conclusion, you will unlock the most significant transfer of wealth your lineage has ever experienced. But should you stop, this opportunity may never arise again. Pay attention, for God is communicating, and the angels are observing you at this moment. There is a reason you are encountering this message now. Somewhere in the spiritual domain, your name is under consideration. The time displayed on the clock is not coincidental. The mere fact that your eyes have fallen upon these words signifies that you are being chosen for a destiny-altering encounter. At this precise moment, the gaze of heaven is fixed upon you. God is not merely observing the world, He is watching you individually. He is aware of your struggles, your silent midnight prayers, and the burdens you bear that remain unseen by others. He knows of the closed doors, the disappointments, and the instances when you nearly relinquished your dreams. Yet today, something has changed. Today, a spiritual examination is being conducted regarding your life. The outcome hinges on your next actions. This is not a trivial moment. This is not a universal blessing intended for everyone. This is a specific divine appointment. A prophetic window has been opened, and it will not remain open indefinitely. In fact, by today, the opportunity will either be secured in your favor or closed until another season arises. No one can predict when or if it will return. Let me be perfectly clear. God has a plan to place $777 million in your name. This is not a mere fantasy or an empty promise, but a supernatural act that only He can orchestrate in ways beyond your imagination. However, here is the caution. There are forces that wish to prevent you from receiving this. There are patterns of delay, spirits of doubt, and even individuals in your life who may unconsciously hinder your breakthrough with negative words or disbelief. The devil would relish the opportunity for you to scroll away, become distracted, or ignore this urging in your spirit. For if you do, he understands something crucial. You will miss the singular moment when your name could be inscribed in God's record of abundance, yet you are still present. You are still reading. This indicates that you have not missed your moment. God seeks those who will not only listen but will also boldly declare their faith. When you confess something verbally, when you publicly write it down, you activate a spiritual law, the law of agreement. What you agree with is confirmed by heaven. If you desire to break every chain of poverty, lack and limitation, and enter into the divine overflow that God has reserved for you, then declare your faith immediately. Go to the comments and write, "I receive my divine inheritance," or "My name is written for abundance." Do not hesitate. Do it now. A spiritual power is unleashed when you confess it in writing. The angels witness it, the enemy observes it, and God Himself honors the public declaration of your faith. Type it now. I receive my divine inheritance. My name is written for abundance. As you do this, you align yourself for the supernatural transfer that is about to occur. Why is the moment of spiritual choice has arrived? There are instances in life that are mundane, and there are those that are extraordinary. Most individuals navigate through life, transitioning from one routine hour to the next, oblivious to the spiritual appointments and divine crossroads that can alter destinies in mere minutes. However, God is not constrained by human schedules or timepieces. When He designates an hour, that hour transforms into something sacred, imbued with the essence of the miraculous. Today, that sacred hour is significant. What makes this particular hour so important, so spiritually charged? In the spiritual realm, it is recognized as the hour of decision. This is the time when heaven and earth converge, when the prayers of the desperate are evaluated, and when divine judgments are rendered for those who dare to have faith. Historically, this has been the hour when destinies are altered. It was during this time that Jesus, while on the cross, proclaimed, "It is finished." At that precise moment, the temple veil was torn, the earth trembled, and a new covenant was established through His blood. The barrier between heaven and humanity was forcefully removed, and nothing has remained unchanged since. Yet there is more to this hour. In Jewish tradition, it is recognized as the hour of the evening sacrifice. This is the time when daily, a lamb was offered on the altar as a symbol of atonement and a request for blessings. This hour is when God pays particular attention, when the heavens are more widely opened, and when angels are sent forth on missions of breakthrough and deliverance. If you are receiving this message now, understand that you have been granted a rare opportunity for mercy and potential that arises only once in a generation. The choices you make at this moment will resonate throughout your finances, your family, your health, and your future. Heaven is observing, the spiritual realm is still awaiting your action. Many will overlook this moment. They will regard it as merely another video, another assertion, another distraction amidst the clamor. However, the truly wise, the genuinely hungry, and those earnestly seeking a new life, they will not allow this moment to pass them by. You are being called to undertake an endeavor that most individuals will lack the courage to pursue. To align yourself with a prophetic moment, to synchronize your faith with the divine timing. Here is what you need to do in the comments immediately. Declare your faith and your preparedness for what God intends to manifest. Type, "I claim my miracle before 300 p.m. This is my prophetic hour." By doing so, you are not merely typing words, you are inscribing your name in the book of decision. You are signaling to heaven that you are awake, vigilant, and prepared to receive what countless others will overlook. Do not hesitate. Every moment is significant. Type it now. I claim my miracle before you, Kate. Secure your position in this extraordinary moment, because in the spiritual realm, those who act with urgency are the ones who reap the greatest rewards. The prophetic significance of 777 million is not merely numerical. In the spiritual domain, numbers serve as codes, messages from God, patterns of destiny, signals in the divine language. Some numbers are commonplace, while others serve as gateways to revelation, keys that unlock doors that no one can close. Among all numbers, 777 is recognized as one of the most enigmatic and potent in all of Scripture. It represents perfection, the very signature of God. 3 sevens are not coincidental, they are a divine fingerprint. In biblical prophecy, when a message is repeated thrice, it signifies the utmost level of emphasis in the kingdom of heaven. It is a declaration that cannot be reversed. But why 777 million? Why not a smaller, more manageable figure? Why such an immense and overwhelming number? Because God does not merely wish to provide you with just enough. He is the God of abundance, the God of more than enough, the God who proclaims, "I will pour out a blessing so immense that you will not have the capacity to receive it." The number 777 million is not arbitrary. 7 symbolizes completion and divine fulfillment. 777 serves as God's triple affirmation, a seal of absolute assurance that the promise is fulfilled. Genuine, unyielding, relentless. The zeros that follow do not signify emptiness. In the prophetic dimension, zeros enhance the value of the preceding number. Each zero represents a cycle, a gateway, an invitation to elevated realms of blessing. When you observe 727 million associated with your name, you are being designated for a once-in-a-lifetime outpouring. This transcends mere money. This embodies spiritual wealth, favor, influence, health, restoration, and generational blessing. It is the type of abundance that transforms not only your bank account, but also your entire legacy. Allow this to resonate within you. God could have selected any number, yet He chose this one. Why? Because He aims to demonstrate to you and the world that no force in hell, no curse, nor generational pattern can obstruct what He has ordained for you. This is your Joseph moment, the transfer of wealth from the kingdom of darkness into the hands of those who have remained faithful in obscurity. However, here lies a truth that few will grasp. This number, this promise, must be claimed. It will not simply fall into your lap. The prophetic code necessitates activation, a response, a step of faith. If you desire your name to be linked to this divine number, if you wish to receive your share of the 777 million blessing, you must publicly declare your faith. Proceed to the comments immediately. Write, "I receive the 777 million blessing in my name. I claim the prophetic promise of 77. This is not solely about you." When you comment, you shatter the silence for your entire family. You unlock generational opportunities. You open the floodgates for those who follow you. Do not allow fear, doubt, or the voice of the adversary to silence you. Proclaim it. I receive the 777 million blessing in my name. Type it now. Heaven is observing. The angels are documenting. and your act of faith is scripting a new chapter in your narrative. A summons from heaven. You have been selected. Most individuals spend their entire lives seeking meaning, yearning for a sign that their existence holds significance, that they are not merely another face in the crowd, not just another number lost in the universe. However, today you are not merely another individual scrolling through. Today, a call from heaven resonates, and it is addressing you by name. There exists a spiritual law. God never squanders revelation. He does not cast pearls before swine. He exclusively conveys prophetic messages to those who have been set apart, those who possess a hidden hunger, those whose hearts remain receptive to the supernatural. Do you sense it, that peculiar feeling in your spirit? The quiet thunder within your chest, the awareness that something unseen is reaching out to you. Yes, you. This is not coincidental. This is not by chance. You are being selected for a season of favor that has eluded generations. You are being distinguished for a wealth that will transcend the limitations of your family lineage, for a testimony that will silence every voice of doubt. Heaven operates under a protocol. Prior to God transferring a blessing, He always sends a signal. For Abraham, it was the stars in the sky. For Moses, it was the burning bush. For you, it is this message appearing precisely when your spirit is prepared to receive it. Yet, here lies the truth. Many are called, but few are chosen, not because God shows favoritism, but because only a select few are courageous enough to say yes, yes to the unknown, yes to the miracle, yes to stepping forward when others retreat in fear. At this moment the eyes of heaven are upon you. The angels are observing to see how you will respond. Will you scroll past and remain in the crowd, or will you step forward, claim your place and respond to the call? You are being presented with a once-in-a-lifetime invitation to transition from the ordinary to the extraordinary, to shift from being overlooked to being anointed, to move from merely surviving to truly thriving in every aspect of your life. However, spiritual laws necessitate a response. When God calls, you must reply. When heaven opens a door, you must enter. Therefore, in this sacred moment, declare it boldly in the comments. I am chosen for divine abundance. I accept the call from heaven. Do not allow fear or hesitation to silence you. The blessing is reserved for the bold. As you compose it, you transition from the masses into the intimate circle of God's favor. As you proclaim it, you set the angels into motion to assist you. Type it now. I am selected for divine abundance. I embrace the call from heaven. The heavens are open, and this is your response. The error that could lead to losing everything today. There are instances in life when a single error alters everything, not merely for a day but for an entire lifetime. Some errors are evident, yet the most perilous ones are subtle, silent and spiritual. They occur in the shadows, in the quiet recesses of our hearts, in the moments we believe are insignificant. However, heaven observes what we overlook. Today, as you receive this message, the spiritual realm is alert. A prophetic clock is ticking, and the choices you make in these forthcoming moments will resonate throughout your destiny. Many individuals fail to acknowledge this, assuming that their actions or inactions in response to God's promptings bear little significance. But that is a falsehood. The enemy's most formidable weapon is distraction. He desires for you to think you have ample time, that nothing pressing is occurring, that you can always return later. Yet, spiritual doors do not remain open indefinitely, windows of favor close, and when you miss your moment you may forfeit more than you comprehend. Throughout history, individuals have overlooked miracles simply by failing to take action. The Israelites stood at the threshold of the Promised Land. However, due to hesitation, fear and doubt, they wandered for 40 years and never witnessed what could have been theirs in a mere week. Esau forfeited his birthright for a fleeting moment of weakness. Judas lost his position among the apostles because he succumbed to darkness for just a brief moment. Do not fall into the trap of believing you have limitless opportunities. Here is the reality the enemy wishes to keep from you. Every prophetic message requires a response. Heaven is observing, and the angels are poised for those who will not only listen but also act. Delay is the most prevalent error that robs destiny from the hands of the chosen. When you procrastinate, when you waver, when you allow skepticism and cynicism to dissuade you from obedience, you grant the enemy the authority to shut doors that God intended to remain open. However, you are not destined to miss your moment. You are not meant to repeat past errors or dwell in regret. This is your opportunity to break the cycle, to declare, "Not this time, not in my life, not in my family." You have the ability to advance in faith, claim your divine inheritance, and alter the conclusion of your narrative. Do not allow fear, pride, or complacency to be the error that costs you everything. This matter transcends mere finances. It encompasses generational blessings, health restoration, relationships, and opportunities that you have yet to perceive. The anguish of regret endures a lifetime. Conversely, the strength of obedience reverberates through generations. Now, if you are genuinely prepared to dismiss the errors of the past and seize your moment, make a declaration in the comments. Do not merely think it, write it down and affirm your decision. Type, "I refuse to miss my divine moment. I will not allow this blessing to slip away." By committing this to writing, you shatter the chains of delay, doubt, and distraction. You communicate to heaven, the enemy, and your own spirit, "I am prepared. I am vigilant. I am progressing towards my miracle." Type it now with confidence, without fear. "I refuse to miss my divine moment. I will not let this blessing pass me by." Your actions today plant the seeds for your miracles tomorrow. The current test of faith is unfolding right now. At this very instant, whether you are aware of it or not, you find yourself at the crossroads of a spiritual trial, a trial that is unrelated to external appearances and entirely focused on what transpires in the unseen realm. Faith tests do not announce their presence with warning bells or flashing lights. They occur quietly. Sometimes in the hidden recesses of your own heart, sometimes in a split-second choice that will resonate for years to come. The most significant movements of God throughout history have always commenced with a test. Abraham faced a test when God commanded him to depart. Everything that is familiar must be left behind as one steps into an uncertain future. Moses faced a trial in the wilderness when he had to choose between returning to Egypt and confronting Pharaoh. Esther encountered her own test when she approached the king, risking her life for her people. Every individual who has ever entered a season of abundance, breakthrough, and divine favor has had to endure a test, often at the most unexpected moment. The essence of the test lies not in what you possess physically, but in what resides within your heart. God does not test you to cause you harm, rather He tests you to unveil the strength and beauty of your faith, to elevate you, and to propel you into realms you never thought possible. At this moment, the test is straightforward. Will you choose to act on faith, or will you opt for comfort and routine? In this very instance, heaven is observing your reaction. Do you trust the promise, or do you harbor doubts? Will you heed the call to step forward, or will you retreat? Do you possess the bravery to publicly declare what your spirit quietly believes? This test is not concerned with what you may lose, but rather with what you are prepared to receive. Many individuals wait for the perfect circumstances before taking action. However, faith does not wait for ideal conditions. Faith is the key that opens the door before you can see what lies beyond. This is the reason many never fully experience the abundance that God has in store for them. They hesitate, they rationalize, and they listen to the voice of fear. Yet, you are different. You are present here because your heart has been ignited, your spirit has been awakened, your soul craves more. Do not allow this test to slip away. Rise and demonstrate to the universe, the angels, and your own future that you are prepared for the extraordinary. At this moment, I challenge you, yes you, to put your faith into action. Declare it in the comments as your affirmation. I am successfully passing my test of faith. My faith unlocks my blessings. As you type these words, you are making a choice that initiates miracles. You grant heaven the authority to release what has been awaiting you. You break through the unseen dot, the barrier that prevents most individuals from progressing. Therefore, do not restrain yourself. Allow your words to precede you and pave the way for abundance, breakthroughs, and generational blessings. Type it now. I am successfully passing my test of faith. My faith is the key to unlocking my blessings. Heaven is observing. The angels are documenting, and your act of faith today will be etched in the narrative of your life. Angels are noting your actions. There exists a dimension that most individuals fail to perceive, a realm where every thought, every word, and every decision being scrutinized and recorded. You are not isolated. At this very moment, the spiritual realm is nearer than your breath, and your life is being observed by a host of angels assigned by God to oversee, document, and respond to your choices. The scriptures declare in Hebrews, "We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses." This is not mere poetry, it is a spiritual reality. The angels serve as God's messengers, His agents of blessing, protection, and breakthroughs. They are not remote, impersonal entities. They are deeply intertwined with the occurrences of your life, observing how you react to every divine instruction, every opportunity, and every prophetic word. Each time you act in faith, speak life, demonstrate kindness, or heed a spiritual prompting, it is recorded in the heavenly archives. The book of remembrance mentioned in Malachi 3:16 is indeed real. When you opt for obedience, your name is inscribed in gold. When you venture out in faith, angels are sent forth on your behalf. However, there is a truth that few comprehend. Just as God observes in secret, the enemy also seeks out moments of vulnerability. Instances when individuals retreat, deny their blessings, or remain silent when they ought to speak out. If you disregard this moment, if you allow skepticism to mute your confession, the angels are compelled to document your lack of response. Yet, when you courageously proclaim your faith, when you act upon your beliefs, you grant the angels the authority to engage in battle for you, to open doors, to silence your accusers, and to manifest the miracles for which you have been praying. Imagine this. At this very moment, an angel is standing next to you, pen in hand, poised to inscribe your name into the narrative of those who dared to have faith. This is not a mere tale, it represents the unseen reality that influences your tangible existence. Your actions today hold significance for future generations. If you desire heaven to commemorate this instant, if you wish for the angels to present your name and your plea before the throne of God, you must not remain silent. This is your chance to be recognized among the courageous, the devoted, the makers of history. Proceed to the comments section now and declare, "The angels are documenting my faith. My name is inscribed in the book of remembrance." As you type these phrases, understand that you are not merely posting a comment, you are engaging in a spiritual exchange, a record that will endure beyond this day and resonate into eternity. Proclaim it now. The angels are documenting my faith. My name is inscribed in the book of remembrance. The world may overlook, but heaven never forgets. What you inscribe today could serve as a pivotal moment for every aspect of your life. It is the spiritual door that opens solely through obedience. In every individual's life, there arrives a moment when a door manifests, a supernatural opportunity that cannot be unlocked by mere talent, luck, or human endeavor. This door is spiritual. It remains unseen to the casual observer, yet it is unmistakable to the soul seeking purpose and abundance. God is the master planner of your destiny, crafting doors that necessitate more than just hopeful wishing to unlock. They demand one essential element: obedience. Obedience is the utmost expression of faith. It transcends merely articulating the correct phrases or harboring good intentions. It involves acting when God instructs you to act, moving even in the absence of understanding, and trusting even when it appears perilous. The spiritual door before you today cannot be coerced, manipulated, or reasoned open. It opens wide only to those who heed the call of heaven with prompt, brave action. Throughout the scriptures, every narrative of breakthrough is fundamentally a narrative of obedience. Noah constructed an ark before a solitary drop of rain descended. Abraham abandoned all that he was familiar with to pursue a promise that remained unseen. Peter exited the boat and walked upon the water, not due to logic but because Jesus commanded, "Come." Each instance a door opened that no human could have foreseen. Each instance obedience served as the key that unlocked the door. Numerous individuals spend their entire lives at the brink of a breakthrough, feeling frustrated and bewildered, questioning why the promises of God appear so distant. The reality is that they are awaiting a sign, a guarantee, a sense of security. Meanwhile, God is awaiting obedience. Merely believing in your heart is insufficient. Simply hoping for a favorable outcome is not enough. The blessing designated for you is only released upon your obedience. Today your challenge is straightforward yet profound. Will you step through the door by responding publicly and boldly in faith? Will you follow the directive to declare your expectation for the miraculous? This is your opportunity to demonstrate to heaven and to your own spirit that you are not merely a listener of the word but an active participant. Obedience invariably initiates acceleration. A single act of obedience can achieve more for your life than countless days of effort. At this moment, as a sign that you are stepping through the door, proceed to the comments and write, "I choose obedience. I step through my spiritual door. My act of faith unlocks my breakthrough." Do not wait for another sign. Do not allow doubt to keep you at the threshold. Type it now. Activate the spiritual door with your obedience and observe what God accomplishes next. Declare it with confidence. I choose obedience. I step through my spiritual door. My act of faith unlocks my breakthrough. I understand how the enemy attempts to prevent you from receiving this blessing. Every promise from God invites opposition. The greater your calling, the more intense the struggle over your destiny. The enemy, whether referred to as the adversary, the accuser, or simply the embodiment of negativity, never targets individuals who are stagnant. He only confronts those whose breakthroughs will impact generations. If you are experiencing resistance at this moment, if uncertainties or distractions are weighing on your mind, and if those around you are suddenly undermining your faith, this serves as evidence that your blessing is genuine, that the promise from heaven regarding your life is so profound that it has incited a reaction from the enemy. But how does the enemy operate? He does not always employ overt weapons. Instead, he whispers insidious lies. This is not meant for you. Nothing ever changes. You are unworthy. This is merely another hollow promise. He utilizes the voice of fear to immobilize your courage, the toxin of comparison to diminish your sense of self, and the burden of past failures to suffocate your hope. Occasionally he resorts to busyness and distraction, leading you to overlook divine opportunities simply because you are preoccupied with trivial matters. One of his most effective strategies is isolation. He aims to convince you that you are alone, that your prayers go unheard, and that your act of faith will have no impact. However, the reality is that every act of obedience, every expression of faith, and every public affirmation sends ripples through the spiritual realm. The enemy's assaults are an indication that you are on the brink of something extraordinary. He cannot thwart God's blessing, but he will do everything in his power to persuade you to hinder yourself. You are not powerless. You are not subject to the whims of darkness. You possess authority purchased by the sacrifice of Jesus, confirmed by God's promises, and activated by your own voice. At this moment you can silence every accusation, every doubt, and every fear. You can reclaim what the enemy has attempted to take from your family, your finances, and your future. You begin by making a bold proclamation, refusing to remain silent or passive in the face of adversity. Go to the comments now and write, "The enemy will not steal my blessing. I break every chain of doubt and fear." As you type these words, you draw a definitive line. You remind yourself, the enemy, and heaven itself, that you will not retreat. You are advancing assured, safeguarded, chosen, and unstoppable. Write it now. The enemy will not steal my blessing. I shatter every chain of doubt and fear. Biblical passages affirm this transfer of wealth. When God makes a promise, he always provides a record. He is not a man who should lie, nor the Son of Man who should change his mind. The scriptures are replete with evidence that God is not merely concerned with your survival, He is dedicated to your abundance, your prosperity, and your generational breakthrough. This divine message, this promise of supernatural provision, is not mere wishful thinking. It represents the fulfillment of ancient prophecy reiterated and confirmed throughout the ages. Reflect on these sacred words. Proverbs states, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous." This is not a metaphor. God has ordained a transfer of wealth. Resources that have been concealed, delayed, or trapped in the hands of the ungodly are on the verge of being released to those who walk uprightly, to those who have maintained their faith when others have faltered. Deuteronomy reminds us to remember the Lord your God, for it is He who grants you the ability to generate wealth, thereby confirming His covenant. Wealth is not a random occurrence. It is God's method of affirming His promise, demonstrating to the world that those who trust Him never lack, never beg, and never live in perpetual defeat. Isaiah proclaims, "I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who calls you by name." God is calling you by name at this very moment. The hidden treasures are about to be unveiled. What was previously out of reach is now coming into your possession, not by might, nor by power, but by the Spirit of the Lord. 2 Corinthians states, "And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work." This is not about selfish gain. It is about being empowered to fulfill your purpose, to bless others, and to leave a legacy that resonates in eternity. God's word serves as your legal evidence. When you stand firm on these promises, all of heaven supports you. You are not seeking something that is outside of God's will. You are asserting what He has already reserved for the faithful. However, the word must be activated. It is insufficient to merely read or hear it. You must agree with it, declare it, and affirm it as your own. At this moment, in the comments, make the word personal. Type, "I receive the wealth transfer God promised." These scriptures serve as my evidence and my entitlement. As you inscribe these words, you align your life with the unbreakable promises of God. You place your name on the roster of those who will proclaim, "The Lord has done it for me." Declare it now. I receive the wealth transfer God promised. These scriptures serve as my evidence and my entitlement. Heaven and earth may pass away, but God's word will remain unbroken. And as you do this, feel the resistance begin to dissipate, because every word of faith is a weapon in the struggle for your destiny. Testimonies of miracles following prophetic messages abound. Sometimes, all it takes to ignite faith is to hear the story of someone who once occupied the same position you are in. Someone who dared to believe, who responded to a prophetic call, and who witnessed the impossible become reality. Throughout history, God has delivered prophetic messages not merely as warnings but as invitations to experience the miraculous. The stories are innumerable, and they all demonstrate one truth. When you act in faith, the supernatural becomes your new normal. Consider the woman who had lost everything. She encountered a message just like this one while scrolling late at night. Every voice in her mind told her it was too late for her, that her best days were behind her. Yet, instead of closing the video, she made a bold declaration in the comments. She dared to claim her inheritance and stand on the promise of God. Within days an unexpected check arrived. Debts were cleared. Opportunities she believed were lost forever came rushing back. Her story became evidence that obedience opens doors that no man can close. Or think of the businessman on the brink of bankruptcy. He had exhausted every possible strategy and knocked on every door, yet nothing yielded results. In a state of desperation, he observed a prophetic message proclaiming a divine transfer of wealth. Rather than dismissing it, he chose to humble himself, typing, "I received the wealth transfer God promised as an act of faith." The following week, a long-forgotten client contacted him with a contract that not only restored everything he had lost but also provided more. Families have been reunited, relationships have been mended, illnesses have been healed, and lifelong curses have been broken. All of this occurred in response to a prophetic word, a singular act of faith, a moment of courageous agreement with heaven. These are not mere fairy tales, they are living testimonies, narratives that continue to unfold in real time in real lives just like yours. Doubt and cynicism have never transformed a life. However, faith that is spoken, written, or declared can shift atmospheres and rewrite destinies. Today you have the chance to add your name to the list of miracles, to step out from the crowd and declare, "My story will be next. I will be the testimony that others discuss. God's favor will visit my home." If you have already witnessed a miracle through a prophetic message, please share it below. If you are anticipating your breakthrough, declare it with confidence. Proceed to the comments now and write, "My miracle is on the way. I will be the next testimony." Do not let your faith remain silent. Let your story commence with a declaration, one that the angels and everyone reading will acknowledge. Type it now. "My miracle is on the way. I will be the next testimony." Your faith today will serve as encouragement for someone else tomorrow. Allow the world to witness what God can accomplish. There are 3 immediate actions that activate the divine promise. It is insufficient to merely hear a prophetic message and feel inspired for a fleeting moment. Miracles are initiated by action. The blessing is reserved for those who put their faith into practice, who respond to God's invitation with such immediacy and boldness that the spiritual realm cannot overlook it. Every significant breakthrough in Scripture was unlocked through obedience to a straightforward, specific instruction. God does not leave us in uncertainty. He consistently unveils steps that pave the way for the extraordinary. If you are prepared for the $700 million blessing, here are 3 actions you must undertake without hesitation. These steps will distinguish you from the masses and usher you into your destined season. First, make a public affirmation of your faith. There is spiritual strength in articulating your expectations. The adversary exerts the most effort in silence, whereas faith flourishes in the light. Do not conceal your belief. Proclaim it openly at this moment. Speak it. Write it down, and inform both the universe and the spiritual realm of your position. Action. Proceed to the comments and write, "I publicly declare my season of abundance is here." Second, share the message by blessing others. Breakthroughs multiply when they are disseminated. God never intended for your miracle to end with you. He created you to be a channel for blessings. By sharing this prophetic message with friends or family, you engage in a spiritual principle. What you facilitate for others, God will facilitate for you. Action. Distribute this video to at least 3 individuals who are in need of a miracle. Motivate them to watch, declare, and enter into their own season of overflow. Third, plant a seed of expectation. Every miracle documented in the Bible is associated with an act of giving. Whether it involves time, prayer, forgiveness, or resources, sowing transcends monetary contributions. It embodies obedience, trust, and anticipation. Inquire of God, "What is my seed for this promise?" and heed the guidance of your spirit. Action. Make a decision at this moment. What will you sow in faith today? It could be a prayer, a fast, a donation, or a simple act of kindness. Document it as your covenant. Affirm your actions with a written declaration in the comments. I declare abundance. I will bless others, and I am sowing my seed. These 3 steps constitute your role in the supernatural exchange. When you act promptly, you align yourself with the divine flow. Delay disrupts the cycle. Obedience amplifies the miracle. Do not procrastinate. Go to the comments now and type, "I declare abundance. I will bless others as I plant my seeds." Your actions serve as the key that unlocks the promise. Allow the angels to document your faith. The curse of doubt. The reason some individuals miss the blessing. There exists a silent adversary that has deprived more destinies than any demon, more families than any tragedy, and more dreams than any failure. Its name is doubt. Doubt is not merely a transient thought or a question in your mind. It is a spiritual force, a curse that can persist for generations, creating invisible barriers that even the most gifted and diligent individuals cannot surpass unless it is confronted, vanquished, and eradicated. Have you ever pondered why certain individuals appear to live below their potential, always struggling, perpetually on the verge of a breakthrough, yet never fully entering into the abundance of what is promised? It is not due to a lack of love from God. It is not because they lack capability. It is because at some point doubt was permitted to take root. Doubt functions in secrecy. It whispers, "Is this truly meant for me? Can God genuinely accomplish this? What if I raise my hopes and nothing materializes?" It sows seeds of hesitation that develop into vast forests of disappointment. It taints your declarations, instilling fear in you to proclaim your faith. It compels you to play small, to remain in the shadows, to wait for yet another sign, when God has already provided the directive. Even in Scripture, doubt was the distinguishing factor between miracles and missed opportunities. When Peter walked on water, it was doubt that caused him to sink. When the Israelites arrived at the brink of the Promised Land, it was doubt that transformed a brief journey into a 40-year delay. Even in Jesus' own hometown, the Bible states that he could not perform many miracles there due to their unbelief. Doubt is not neutral, it is a curse that must be shattered. What many individuals fail to recognize is that doubt is not merely an emotion, it is a choice. You can choose to reject doubt, to starve it, to deny it a voice in your life. You can wage war against the inner critic, against every lie that states, "Not you, not now, not this time." When you embrace this truth, everything transforms. God does not feel threatened by your inquiries. However, He is saddened by your unwillingness to trust Him, especially when He has already demonstrated His faithfulness. The instant you permit doubt to take control of your thoughts, you disqualify yourself from the miracle that is already en route. The encouraging news is that doubt can be shattered in a moment through a decision, a proclamation, or a courageous act of faith. You were not designed to exist under the burden of doubt. You were meant to have faith, to walk with assurance, to rely on God's promises, even when everything in the physical realm appears impossible. Your breakthrough, your financial liberation, your generational transformation, all depend on your readiness to declare, "I will not allow doubt to rob me of my blessing." At this moment there is a spiritual call to reject every agreement you have ever made with doubt. Each time you allow fear to dictate your choices, every instance you permit your words to express limitations instead of faith, this marks your pivotal moment. Proceed to the comments immediately and proclaim, "I break the curse of doubt over my life. My faith surpasses my fear. I accept the blessing with complete assurance." As you compose these statements, you are not merely forming sentences, you are breaking free from chains. You are silencing the adversary's voice. You are opting for a new destiny. One where faith unlocks doors, unleashes miracles, and elevates you into the abundance that God has always envisioned for you. Do not allow another day to pass under the shadow of doubt. Let this be the moment that heaven records, the day you shattered the curse and stepped into the brilliance of unwavering faith. Declare it now. "I break the curse of doubt over my life. My faith is greater than my fear. I receive the blessing with full confidence." Let your words resonate in the Spirit and let your future be eternally transformed. The reward awaits those who believe without hesitation. Throughout history, the most extraordinary miracles have been reserved for a unique kind of individual, not the richest, not the most learned, not the most connected, yet those who believe without hesitation, those who have the courage to trust when others falter, those who hear a promise and simply respond, "Yes, Lord, let it be to me according to your word," as Tinto stated. What does it mean to believe without question? It does not imply the absence of doubt, but rather the choice to proceed in spite of it. It is a heart posture that declares, even if I do not comprehend how, even if I cannot perceive the path, I choose to trust the God who is unfailing. This type of faith is uncommon and holds great value to God. Consider the lives of those who have traversed this journey. Abraham believed in the seemingly impossible promise of a son when nature declared it was too late. Mary accepted the message of an angel, risking her reputation and safety simply because she had faith. Joshua and Caleb recognized the giants yet believed in the promise, thus entering the land that others forfeited. Each instance in Scripture where an individual opted to trust God without seeking explanations or assurances, heaven responded with favor, acceleration, and reward. However, the greatest blessing is not merely what you receive. The most significant blessing is who you become, a magnet for miracles, a conduit for divine abundance, a testament to God's faithfulness for all to witness. This distinction sets apart the ordinary from the extraordinary, the observer from the history maker. This is the journey that dismantles generational curses and establishes new benchmarks of blessing for all who follow in your footsteps. Those who believe without question inhabit a different realm. They transition from mere survival to supernatural provision. They witness doors opening that others are unaware of. They become living evidence that the promises of God are not just relics of the past, they are a vibrant reality. Yet there exists another layer to this reward. It transcends mere material wealth. Although God is never reluctant to generously bless His people, it encompasses a peace that defies worldly understanding, a joy that endures through the tempest, a confidence that remains unshaken. It is about awakening each day with the assurance that the favor of heaven is currently upon your name, your family, your finances, your future, and perhaps most significantly, it pertains to legacy. The faith you exhibit today lays the groundwork upon which your children and grandchildren will build. Generations from now, individuals will remember you not as someone who played it safe, but as one who believed, who trusted, who received, and who inspired others to follow suit. At this moment, heaven is seeking individuals who will embrace this type of faith, people who will not merely agree passively but will firmly declare, "I am one of those. I will believe regardless of circumstances." Individuals who will accept the blessing and the reward designated for the few who dare to trust wholeheartedly. If this resonates with you, if you are prepared to accept the reward of unwavering faith, make your commitment evident today. Go to the comments and write, "I believe without question. I receive the reward of faith. My trust will be my testimony." As you inscribe these words, you are not merely occupying space on a screen, you are establishing a new pattern within your spirit. You are conveying a message to heaven, to the adversary, to your own soul, and to generations yet to come. You are a believer. You are a receiver. You are a living miracle. Type it now. I believe without question. I receive the reward of faith. My trust will be my testimony. And as you do so, prepare to witness the floodgates of heaven open. For this is the faith that moves mountains, brings things into existence, and unleashes blessings beyond measure. You have arrived at a crossroads, one that few ever encounter. Many embark on this journey. Fewer persevere to the conclusion. Only the most courageous cross the threshold and claim their promise. Yet here you stand on the brink of a moment that will alter your destiny. All of heaven is observing. This is the time for your declaration. God's promises are never mere words, they are living contracts articulated in the language of faith, signed in the blood of Jesus, sealed by the Spirit, and awaiting your endorsement. There comes a time, it is essential to transition from merely hearing about miracles to actively experiencing them, from simply reading about favor to embracing it as a crown. Throughout this message you have been encouraged to believe, to declare, and to take action. Now is the moment to bring to fruition what heaven has already prepared for you. The ultimate decree is not issued by any preacher, prophet, or even an angel, it is issued by you. Just as ancient kings would affix their seal to decrees that altered the course of nations, you must imprint your faith onto this promise by inscribing your name, by asserting your claim, and by refusing to allow doubt, fear, or delay to deprive you of the abundance reserved for your lineage. The spiritual realm is replete with unfinished narratives, unclaimed inheritances, and unopened blessings because many have stopped just short of their decree. Let this not be your narrative. Let today mark the moment when your name becomes synonymous with favor, breakthrough, and supernatural provision. The promise of $777 million transcends mere numbers. It symbolizes that God is capable, willing, and prepared to transfer resources, opportunities, and blessings into the hands of the faithful. It serves as an invitation to abundance in every aspect: finances, family, health, purpose, and peace. However, you must seal it. Here is what you need to do in the presence of God, in the company of angels, and as a witness to yourself and every voice that has ever doubted you. Inscribe your name into the promise. Proceed to the comments immediately and boldly proclaim, "My name is inscribed in God's promise. I claim my $777 million blessing. This is my decree of abundance." Then type your first name as a signature. As you do this, perceive this moment as more than just a comment. View it as a contract being activated, a door being opened, and a legacy being released. Allow the universe, the spiritual realm, and your own soul to bear witness. You did not retreat. You did not fall short. You inscribed your name into history and claimed the inheritance that was designed for you from the foundation of the world. Type it now. My name is inscribed in God's promise. I declare my $777 million blessing. This is my proclamation of abundance. And then your first name. This is your moment. Let it resonate through eternity. The ultimate decree. Inscribe your name into God's promise. You stand at the brink of a divine transaction that was conceived in the mind of God long before you took your first breath. For generations the promise lingered, awaiting someone courageous enough, eager enough, desperate enough to reach out and claim it. You have navigated through the trials. You have resisted the temptations of doubt. You have heeded the call of heaven urging you to ascend. Now a sacred stillness envelops the atmosphere, the quiet that precedes a decree, before destinies are confirmed, before the heavenly records are filled with new names and new narratives. Reflect for a moment on the journey you have just undertaken, from the initial whisper of caution, through the urgency of a closing opportunity, past the struggles of doubt and the affirmations of faith. You have ventured deeper than most dare to tread. You have not merely absorbed another message. You have engaged in the timeless rhythm of prophecy and response, of promise and action. A dance that unlocks generational blessings and initiates miracles. This moment is sacred. All of heaven is attentive. The spiritual realm is tranquil. The angels are focused, and even the adversary has fallen silent, powerless to hinder what transpires when a child of God makes their final decree. Throughout history, there are those who elevate themselves above the masses, those who resolve that enough is enough. That this will be the generation to shatter the cycle, to claim the inheritance, to open doors that have remained shut for far too long. These are the individuals who refuse to leave promises unfulfilled, who refuse to remain silent in the face of opportunity, who refuse to allow their narrative to conclude in mediocrity. Now it is your moment. It is your moment to become the one in your lineage who transformed everything, to become the ancestor your descendants will remember, the story that ignites faith for generations. It is now your opportunity to establish a new benchmark of abundance, joy, protection, and extraordinary provision. This is not solely for your benefit, but for all those who will descend from your lineage. A decree is not merely a wish, a hope, or a casual remark. It is a legal declaration in the spiritual realm, a binding announcement that summons angels, silences adversaries, and unleashes the fullness of God's purpose into your existence. When you inscribe your name onto a decree, you are expressing your faith in written form, asserting your claim so emphatically that the heavens cannot overlook it. Reflect on every promise you have encountered or been told. The transference of wealth from the hands of the unjust to the just, the opening of doors that no man can close. The restoration of everything that was lost, the blessing of Abraham, the favor of Joseph, the abundance of Solomon. All these promises are not merely tales of the past, they are your spiritual inheritance, awaiting your signature. Some may hesitate, some may question whether it truly works, whether it truly matters. However, history is made by those who take action, who decree, who have the courage to step forward and declare, "I will not let this moment pass. I will not leave this promise unclaimed." There is no coincidence that you have reached this juncture, no coincidence that you remain here while many others have fallen away. It is a sign that your name has been selected for this moment, that your narrative is intended to reflect the imprint of heaven's abundance, that the generational curse is being broken and the generational blessing is being released. The time for silence has ended. The season for doubt has concluded. This is the moment of your decree. Here is how you affirm your destiny. Proceed to the comments now and write. Not merely as an observer but as a history maker, a bloodline liberator, a chain breaker. Write these words: "My name is inscribed in God's promise. I claim my $777 million blessing. This is my decree of abundance." Then inscribe your first name as your spiritual signature. Recognize the significance of what you are doing. With each letter you type, you are imprinting your identity into the narrative of abundance. You are not merely asking, you are asserting. You are not simply hoping, you are activating. You are not just wishing, you are declaring. Envision the ripple effect. Your faith sets the angels into action. Your signature signifies the moment heaven unveils answers, opens opportunities, cancels debts, restores health, mends relationships, and bestows favor that is immeasurable. Allow your decree to resonate not only in this moment, not just in this video, but throughout the corridors of eternity. Let it be acknowledged that you were present, that you had faith, that you received, and that you claimed what others hesitated to claim. Type it now before doubt, delay, or distraction can rob you of your inheritance. My name is inscribed in God's promise. I claim my $777 million blessing. This is my declaration of abundance, followed by your first name. As you do this, envision yourself entering a new dimension, a realm where promises materialize, where scarcity transforms into abundance, where your narrative evolves into a testimony that will motivate thousands to step out in faith. This marks the conclusion of your waiting and the commencement of your abundance. Let your decree endure eternally. If you have arrived at this juncture, you are not merely a spectator. You are part of a spiritual movement. Something significant has shifted in your life, from the very first words to this ultimate decree. Heaven has been drawing you nearer, awakening something within you that will never again be silenced. You have embarked on a journey that millions shy away from. You have traversed the valley of doubt, ascended the mountain of faith, and stood in the presence of destiny. You have inscribed your name in God's promise, claimed your inheritance, and shattered every barrier that once constrained you. However, do not allow this moment to conclude here. Faith is akin to a fire. If you permit it to blaze, it will eradicate every limitation, every fear, every chain the adversary ever attempted to impose on you or your family. Yet, like any fire, faith requires nourishment, protection, and sharing. What you do next will dictate the outcome. Consider how far this blessing extends. It impacts not only your life but also the lives of all those you influence. If this message has resonated with you, do not keep it to yourself. Share this video immediately with at least 5 individuals who are in need of a miracle. There is someone in your circle, perhaps a friend, a family member, or even a stranger, whose entire fate may be precariously balanced. A single word of faith, an invitation, or a share could ignite the spark that transforms their future. Subscribe to this channel. This is not merely another YouTube channel. It serves as a prophetic well, a reservoir of divine messages, spiritual teachings, and breakthrough prayers intended for those yearning for more of God's power. If you wish to be among the first to receive new revelations, join this community of faith warriors by clicking the subscribe button and activating notifications. Do not allow yourself to miss the next outpouring. Share your testimony in the comments section. If you have already experienced a miracle, or if you possess a story of breakthrough or restoration, please share it below. Your words could inspire hope in someone who is on the verge of giving up, and if you are still awaiting your promise, continue to declare it. Keep believing and keep returning. Miracles tend to multiply in environments where faith is celebrated. Plant a seed of gratitude and faith. If this message has shifted your perspective, if you feel compelled to give, to honor God, or to support this ministry, act now. The principle of seed time and harvest is unbreakable. Generosity is the language of abundance, and above all, remember this day. Mark it on your calendar. Document it in your journal. Share it with your children and your grandchildren. On this day you believed. On this day you received. On this day your narrative changed forever. Pray this concluding prayer with me. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I express my gratitude for the promise declared over my life. I accept every blessing, every opportunity, every breakthrough designated for me. I declare that I will walk in abundance, that my family will experience favor, that every curse is nullified, and that every miracle is released. Seal this moment in both heaven and earth, allowing your glory to be revealed through my testimony in Jesus' name. Amen. If this message has resonated with your heart, let it be evident. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Be the catalyst for someone else's miracle to commence. Return soon for additional divine messages, breakthrough prayers, and transformative moments that can alter your life forever. This is not the conclusion, it is your new beginning. You have arrived at the brink of something extraordinary. Not everyone who encounters a message like this will see it through. Not everyone will possess the courage to claim a promise, to break a curse, or to challenge the voice of doubt, but you have. And because you have, the trajectory of your life has been altered in ways you may not yet perceive. This was not merely a video, it was a visitation, a supernatural encounter between you and your Creator. Every word you have heard, every declaration you have made, and every step of faith you have taken has generated a ripple in the unseen realm. Angels have been dispatched, records have been inscribed, chains have been shattered, heaven has drawn nearer to earth, and your name has been elevated to realms of favor, abundance, and recognition beyond your wildest imagination. Take a moment to grasp the significance of what has transpired. You are no longer the same individual you were when this message commenced. A divine transaction has occurred. The narrative of your family, your finances, and your legacy is now defined by faith. The doors that once remained closed are now responding to the sound of your name. The spiritual inheritance that lingered over your lineage is now advancing towards you, poised to manifest in tangible, undeniable ways. However, remember that every new season necessitates new responsibilities. The blessing is not the finish line, it is merely the starting gate. With newfound abundance comes the obligation to live at a higher level of gratitude, generosity, faith, and obedience. Let your life serve as evidence that God fulfills His promises, that miracles continue to occur, and that faith is never in vain. Revisit this message whenever you require a reminder. Bookmark it. Revisit it during times of doubt or discouragement. Allow it to serve as your anchor on days when storms arise, when the adversary whispers falsehoods, and when you are tempted to forget your identity and the gifts you possess. Invite others to share in this experience. Forward this video to someone enduring a challenging season, a family member in need, a friend overwhelmed by fear, or a colleague quietly seeking hope. Sometimes, the most profound act of love you can offer is the invitation to believe once more. You never know whose destiny may be transformed because you took a simple step to share. Stay engaged. Comment on this video as your life unfolds. Return with your testimonies, breakthroughs, and miracles. Each story shared contributes to a community of faith, an altar of gratitude that sustains the fire for all who follow. And if you are genuinely prepared for the next level, make a commitment today to support this channel through prayer, sharing, and your resources. Your partnership enables these prophetic messages to reach further, bless more, and ignite movements of faith in homes and nations worldwide. Let your next step be deliberate. Write a journal entry tonight about your aspirations. Create a list of the doors you anticipate God will open. Begin making daily declarations of abundance, protection, and favor over yourself and your loved ones. A prophetic charge for you. I declare that the old has passed away and the new has arrived, that cycles of lack, disappointment, and defeat are permanently broken over your life, that the $777 million blessing, both spiritually and practically, will begin to manifest in unforeseen ways, surprising opportunities, restored relationships, supernatural provision, and unexplainable favor. May your hands never be empty. May your table always be full. May your children's children speak of your faith and walk in the legacy you have established today. As you progress, keep this in mind: you are chosen, you are anointed, you are a sign and a wonder. The world is about to witness what unfolds when an individual has unwavering faith in God, regardless of circumstances. As you proceed, please keep this channel in your prayers. Kindly comment once more below. Share your highest expectation for the upcoming season, or simply type Amen to affirm this work within your spirit. Remember to subscribe, like, and enable notifications so you never miss a single message sent from heaven for you. May this day be one you always cherish, the day you embraced the promise, the day you committed your name to God's abundance, the day everything transformed. Move forward in faith, move forward with confidence, move forward with the assurance that your new season has commenced and that nothing and no one can shut the door that God has opened for you. We eagerly await your testimony, and heaven anticipates your praise. May you be blessed beyond all that you can ask, think, or imagine.